Hey there, welcome to makingrealestatefun.com. I want to introduce our guest today. Is a fantastic guest. It's John Santiago, and he's with ServiceMaster. ServiceMaster is a company that does a lot of restoration, cleanup, and mitigation for homes and as well as businesses. So we thought we'd have him and tell us a little about his business and what happens when a house has problems. So welcome.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate being here. I know some of the biggest things are, especially with all the rain we have. I know if you live in DuPage County, you get a lot of rain from either last weekend or the last 2 days. But I know on the mitigation standpoint, with all the rain, some pump fails, even sewer backups, stuff like that, we've been somewhat pretty busy. It's nice to think and say that we've been in business for over 30 years, so we've got a little bit of experience of what we do and how we do it. Also, we're one of the largest service masters in the U.S. So really what that means is we've got a pretty big footprint. So throughout Illinois, we've got quite a few locations, and we've got a location in Indianapolis, Missouri, and Denver as well. Really what that means is in a mini-cat situation or catastrophe situation, as Downers Grove was last weekend, we have an excess of more workers or more equipment as we need it. So really as far as our footprint grows, reaching out from Indianapolis or Denver, Missouri, and having the right equipment to help, and that's the biggest thing. Really just to help for water mitigation and fire.
Cool. Now, when you say mini cat, as in mini catastrophe?
Yes. Mini catastrophe, meaning there's not 6 feet of water and flooding situations like previously.
Like Katrina?
Houston, Katrina, all of that. But
it's a big cat.
It's a pretty big cat. Grab it by a tail sometimes. But but a mini catastrophe, although it is still a catastrophe, it's not as large scale as Katrina, so to say. But when those do occur, we do have the manpower and equipment to assist as many people as we can, especially in our backyard in DuPage County. So.
Yeah, I know when we had that big rain a couple of weeks ago, my 13-year-old daughter was at a house, I don't know if you can call it a house party, but some of her friends were throwing a get-together.
Yeah.
And there was, we went to go pick her up. It was around 9 o'clock, and I mean, I would say probably at least half of the streets over there were flooded. And the party, or the house that, they were having this gathering at, you couldn't even drive down the street. It was so flooded. So did you guys get a bunch of calls from Hinsdale?
Yeah, actually, we've got a lot of calls. Hinsdale, Downers Grove, Lyle, Darien, Naperville, absolutely. So it's really of just having an action plan, being able to execute it in a timely manner. Usually when water comes in, the plumbers are involved. You're dealing with making sure some pumps are full or are taken care of or actually working. But a lot of people, right away, hey, we need someone here. Unfortunately, when we show up and there's water still there, or like the streets that are flooded, we just have to wait for the water to get down right away. We can't jump into it for many reasons of, we walk into a basement, lights are on, means power's still on, but there's power going in the building. You have to worry about electricity getting shocked, getting hurt. Really we can't plug any more equipment in or start that because electrocution is very serious.
Sure.
The one thing I do know is people freak out. I mean, when something happens, they're like, "Oh my God, what do I call? Who do I call? What do I do? Do I call my insurance agent? Do I call somebody to clean it up?" What's the process? Well, what would you suggest our viewers look at to say, who do we call first? How do we do this?
Well, the best thing to do is have a contingency plan. I know being in the Midwest, schools, they do like tornado drills and all of that, but having a plan of what needs to be done in a home. Winter's coming up, busted pipes. Does everyone know where the water shutoff valves are? Is it tagged properly? Shutting that, making that a point of, hey, that's the first thing we do is shut the water off, right? But when flooding happens, it's more of, are all my valuables lifted? Can I do as much as I can to protect whatever is flooding. So a lot of people have boxes in their basements, kind of elevate them up. But really, the case is call the experts, call ServiceMaster DSI, and we can get out there. Usually we're pretty quick as far as response goes. Having your insurance involved is usually a good thing, but having the right mitigation company is always the best.
Yeah.
So here's a question that and we need to take this question with all seriousness. In the spirit of Halloween, ghosts, do they exist or do they not exist?
Well, I have to say, I've been in a few homes that you definitely start to hear kids talking, and you're like, "There's kids down here." No, there's not. And then I look at my phone. Is my daughter got me on Facebook and she's laughing, or on FaceTime? But I've been in some pretty scary stuff. Even when I've been out of town and walking in some of these crazy buildings, you start to hear. Your mind plays tricks on you for sure. So, yeah, absolutely.
Do you do both residential and commercial?
Yes, we do. So we deal with homes and many commercial buildings, as far as warehouses to churches to schools to high-rise buildings, and multi-family living as well.
Where's your office at?
So the office I'm out of is actually Downers Grove, 2400 Wisconsin Avenue. Thank you for asking.
Right by Alter Brewing, which is where we film a lot of our videos.
Absolutely, right by
Did you hear
Alter
that?
Brewing.
Very cool.
So,
Very cool. Very cool.
How the heck did you get into this service or to this industry?
So I was actually on the insurance side of things for many of years, and that's how I know Anthony Latham. Was him and I were actually Chamber 630, and we met and started marketing to each other, and hey, we could do this, I could do this type deal. And when I left the industry, I was looking actually to become an adjuster. And then once, when I seen all the credentials that you have to do and starting to go through that process, a friend of mine actually worked for ServiceMaster DSI.
I see.
And he goes, John, you have to see what their story is. You kind of have to understand it. And from day one, I drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, they're just it's family. Yeah, it was, it wasn't even that. It was me just kind of burying my head. But ServiceMaster DSI is something I'm really proud of. I mean, it's something that I believe in. It's a company I believe in. From the crews that are there, to the crew chiefs, to the project managers, to even to like the billing in the enterprise, it's something you really believe in. So when you have that much faith in the company, and it's not work anymore. It's more of going to help as many people as you can.
That's awesome.
And I tell people all the time, and my daughter laughs at me. She was like, Dad, she goes, how many people did you make friends with today? And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, you're always helping someone. She goes, and usually by the time you're done leaving their house, she goes, they're smiling instead of being frantic and all of that. So to me, that's where my passion is. That's where my love is knowing that person's worst day possible, even if it's a flood or if it's a fire, or unfortunately we deal with trauma and biohazard. Those are three of the worst things that could possibly happen in someone's life. And by the end of it, if we can make that a little bit easier, ServiceMaster did their job.
Yeah.
So what's worse? Is it fire or water? Because I hear water is worse than fire, but
Well, you have to think, water in itself is pretty bad. But you have fire. What puts out fire?
water.
So now you've got water and fire that are in a home. So we deal with a lot of contents as far as salvageable and unsalvageable. We deal with situations where people want family heirlooms out right away. So as soon as the fire is out, that's the first thing they're talking about is grandma's rings, or they're talking about something that has meaning to them. So us, we already have, hey, this is what we need to grab first and present to the homeowner.
So outside of a big catastrophe, hurricane, something like that, what is the biggest, dealing with a single home? What's the most damage or most, the craziest thing that you've seen on one house?
Well, there's so many different variables to answer that, but a fire is really devastating, especially if there's family involved, and you know that. The other is dealing with biohazard or trauma loss. That'd probably top it as well.
Imagine that.
You know, and we're trained to do this. I mean, it's training that we do. It's every year. It's kind of like you're in real estate. You have to renew your license, and that
Right.
we have to have a certain amount of hours to renew all this.
Right. So,
So-
kind of like a continuing education type.
Absolutely.
What's the most common call that ServiceMaster gets? Is there a
Um,
common call?
You know, well, actually, the last 2 weeks have been water, but majority of it's water. But I can tell you, in the U.S., there's a fire every 86 seconds in the United States. So we deal with quite a few of that, a few of those, but I'd say water.
Has there ever been a time where someone calls and ServiceMaster can't help just because of the situation?
You know, I'm sure at one point, maybe 25 years ago, when we were just starting out. But as of right now, I'm actually very proud to say that we have helped everyone that we can.
Awesome.
And again, that's more of getting our footprint out there, of calling our office in Indiana or Missouri locations or Denver of, hey, guys, we need help. And that's where the family gets really tight, and we come with a fleet or an army of guys. So.
I think my first exposure to ServiceMaster was, probably about 10 years ago, 9-10 years ago. I used to own a bunch of properties, and I was just there. I hadn't flooding, and one of the houses. There was an issue with one of the houses, and I'm frantic looking around for somebody that can take care of it. And I remember ServiceMaster coming up, and I called you guys, and you guys came out. I feel like it used to be you guys specialized in everything, but then more recently you guys have kind of maybe become more focused on kind of disaster type situations, or
Well, there's different arms. So there's ServiceMaster Clean, ServiceMaster Restore, and then SRM. So ServiceMaster Clean is more of the janitorial side, where they'll go in and take care of office buildings, clean and all that. ServiceMaster Restore, well, it's restoration. So that's more of the residential side.
Mhm.
SRM, which stands for ServiceMaster Recovery Management, that's on the commercial side of things. So.
Got it.
And you'll see a lot of ServiceMaster Restore, especially here in DuPage County. Those are majority of our vehicles. But I know as far as residential side, you'll see the Restore side again.
One of the nicest things that I know about you guys is that, there's the cleanup part and then there's the fix-up part.
Yep.
So that when it's all finished, then you gotta clean it up, restore it back to its normal, liking of exactly what it was. So you do both.
Yeah. So we can go from the mitigation side to the demolition side of making the proper cuts in drywall, or removing carpeting and pad, or laminate flooring, to actually the construction side. So we can do from start to finish. There's a few things that we don't touch as far as electricity, plumbing, roofing and siding, that type of stuff. But from A to Z, we can make sure that a home is dried out and put back together.
Got it.
So you don't bring any arcs in, for the flooding in the basements? You don't float an arc in the basement for them to be able to do stuff with?
No, absolutely not. I usually have wings for those, and we just float around. We go about that way. But it's just more of doing the right things and doing it properly.
So in the spirit of Halloween, what are you dressing up as
So
for Halloween this year?
I'm dressing up as the Suicide Squad, the Joker, and my wife's going to be Harley Quinn, and a
Yes.
way
Yes.
PG-13 dressed Harley Quinn, but we're going that way.
Boo.
Out!
So I've got 2 daughters as well, and I've got a son. But my 13-year-old and 2 of her girlfriends are actually going as Alvin and Chipmunks.
Cool.
My 10-year-old, because she's been dying to see the movie It, and we still won't allow her, she wants to be a clown.
I'm terrified.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Nope.
No, I'm not a clown guy.
And my 2-year-old is going to be, I think, Captain America or something crazy. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, you know, it's crazy. When I was a kid, my mother, living in Evanston, suburb of Chicago, she puts me in a football uniform with a Minnesota Vikings helmet. I said, Mom, what are you crazy? Like, I'm going to get killed. I got jumped. They stole my candy. They stole everything. And I had to come back. And I said, Mom, I will never wear this helmet again. So you Minnesota Viking fans can go to hell.
Go Bears.
All right.
So, wrapping this up, how can somebody who's having an issue or a problem get in touch with you?
Well, there's so many different ways. You know, they can reach me by my cell phone, 224-257-2961. I have an office number, 800-954-9444. Or you can Google ServiceMaster DSI.com, and we're going to be right there.
So where's the national headquarters?
As far as our franchise, or are you looking for the corporate office?
Yours.
Our office is actually in Downers Grove.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you coming.
Thank you. I really appreciate it,
A lot
guys.
of great information.
Absolutely. Thanks. Have a
you.
good one.
All right. Thanks.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Absolutely.